She was kicked like trash by the billionaire's son. But what no one knew is that she once saved his father's life. Now, the same cleaner he humiliated is rising to become the queen of the empire. Before you judge a person by the dirt on their clothes, wait until you see the scars they hide. Subscribe to Heart Echoes, where every voice matters. The sun hadn't risen yet, but Lagos had already started breathing. The gates of Maxwell Holdings, tall, silver, sharp-edged, slid open at 6:10 a.m. as they always did. The cleaners were the first to enter, dragging their brooms and buckets like it was part of their bodies. No words. Just work. And in the middle of them walked Iphigenia. You could walk past her and not remember her face. Not because she wasn't beautiful, but because she had mastered the art of not being seen. She was young, maybe 24. Her dark skin glowed even beneath dirt. Her uniform hung from her small frame like it didn't belong. Her slippers were so worn down her heel touched the earth. But her posture still carried something noble. There was something in her eyes that didn't belong in a cleaner. She entered the building and started from the ground up, mopping, scrubbing, polishing. She didn't talk to the other cleaners. She didn't giggle at gossip. She never even asked for more bread from the kitchen like the rest. Every day she came, worked, and disappeared like mist. What nobody knew was that Iphigenia didn't have a home. She slept behind a condemned billboard. She bathed with water from a leaking pipe near the filling station. Her only other dress was folded carefully inside a black nylon bag tucked behind a tree. And still, she showed up. Every day. On time. In silence. It happened at 8:37 a.m. The lobby had just been mopped. The scent of floor cleaner still lingered. Iphigenia was wiping the glass doors when she heard the elevator chime. Then he stepped in. Zubair Maxwell. 28 years old. Tall. Smooth. Dressed in all white. Sunglasses on indoors. A gold chain peeking from beneath his Versace shirt. The air shifted the moment he entered. He walked like he owned every inch of space his feet touched. Like the floor was lucky he graced it. "Why does this place smell like chemicals?" he snapped, removing his sunglasses with irritation. The receptionist looked up, startled. "The cleaners just mopped, sir." Zubair scowled. "Is that supposed to be an excuse?" Then he turned sharply, eyes locking on Iphigenia. "You," he said. She froze. He pointed at the mop in her hand like it was an insult. "Is this your doing?" "Yes, sir. I cleaned the..." Before she could finish, he kicked the bucket beside her. It hit her knee. She fell to the ground. The water splashed across the tiles. The mop rolled. Her elbow scraped the floor. A gasp echoed from the back desk. Zubair didn't flinch. "Next time, clean it properly. This place smells like suffering." He walked off like it meant nothing. And nobody said a word. Iphigenia didn't cry. She stood up slowly, grabbed the mop, and began cleaning the mess again, the one he caused. Her hand was bleeding. Her uniform soaked. She said nothing. When the floor was dry again, she packed her bucket, looked at the receptionist with tired eyes, and said, "I'll go home now." But the receptionist stammered. "You're not going to report this?" Iphigenia shook her head. Who would listen? And with that, she walked away. Through the back gate. Out into the streets. She sat on the pavement beside the old billboard. Her knee was bruised, but it was the burning in her chest that hurt more. She remembered another night, 6 years ago. It had rained heavily that day. She had just closed from her fruit stand near the express road when she saw the crash. A white Lexus had lost control and slammed into a power pole. The windshield shattered. The horn kept blaring. Crowds gathered. People shouted. But nobody moved. Except her. She dropped her basket and ran. She reached the car and saw the man, bleeding from the neck. His eyes fluttering. No one knew if he would live. She did something wild. She removed her wrapper, folded it tight, and pressed it against his wound. She stayed with him, in the storm, for almost 2 hours until an ambulance came. When they took him away, he didn't say anything. Just looked at her, confused, weak, broken. She never told anyone. She never asked for thanks. 2 weeks later, she saw his face on TV. Billionaire Alicum Maxwell survives fatal crash. She stared at the screen and whispered, "You lived." Then she folded her wrapper and went to sleep hungry again. Mr. Alicum Maxwell sat in his glass-walled office, reading through reports. He was older now. Graying, slower, wiser. He had everything. The company. The influence. The empire. But he often felt something was missing. His secretary knocked. "Sir. There's something you should know." He looked up. "Your son, he had an altercation with one of the staff. A cleaner." His brows lifted. "What kind of altercation?" "Well, some say he kicked her." Alicum frowned deeply. "Who?" The secretary paused. "Her name is Iphigenia." Silence filled the room. "Get me her file." She brought a thin folder. It had almost nothing in it. No address. No background. Just a faded ID photo. Her eyes stared back at him from the page. Sharp. Quiet. Familiar. He looked again. He opened a drawer in his desk. Inside was a wrapped cloth, an old, faded pink wrapper with blood stains. He had kept it all these years. The same wrapper that saved his life. His heart pounded. Could it be her? That night, she sat behind the billboard again. The streets were quiet. The moon hidden. Her legs still hurt. Her pride was scattered. She stared into the dark sky and whispered, "Why did I save him? Why am I still here? Why did life throw me away like this?" She didn't want pity. She wanted to be seen. She wanted someone, just once, to ask how she was still breathing. But nobody ever did. Zubair, meanwhile, lay in his king-sized bed, scrolling Instagram. He had forgotten all about her. He didn't know who she was. He didn't care. To him, she was just another poor girl doing poor things in poor clothes. But his father didn't sleep. Mr. Alicum sat on the edge of his bed, holding the wrapper in his hands, staring at it like it had answers. When Zubair returned to the office the next day, something had changed. People didn't greet him with as much enthusiasm. The cleaners looked away when he passed. Someone had reported the incident anonymously. And as he walked past the executive corridor, he noticed his father standing by the window, holding a file. Their eyes met. For the first time in years. Zubair looked away first. Flashback. 6 years ago. That rainy night. She had carried the man from the car into the gutter to keep him from more injury. She had shouted, screamed, waved for help. And when the ambulance came, they thought she was a nurse. She wasn't. She was just a street girl with a kind heart. But one detail nobody knew. Before the man passed out, he whispered, "My son. I need to live." That was why she pressed harder against his wound. That was why she stayed. She saved him, because she believed maybe a man like that still had goodness left in him. She didn't know his son would one day kick her like she was dirt. Later that evening, Alicum stepped into the service floor for the first time in years. The cleaners froze. He scanned their faces until he saw her. She was wiping the mirror above the bathroom sink. He walked in. She turned slowly, recognizing him. They stared at each other. "I've been looking for you," he said. Her heart stopped. "I need to ask you something. Did we meet before?" She nodded faintly. His throat tightened. Were you there the night of my accident?" She looked at the floor. "Yes." "And you Saved me? I didn't do it for thanks, she whispered. I did it because no one else would. He swallowed hard. Then something shattered inside him. My son kicked you. She didn't respond. He stepped back, ashamed. I'm sorry. She looked up. It's not your fault. But it was. And he knew it. Ever since the apology, ever since the billionaire she once saved called her the strongest person he'd ever met, her life had felt like borrowed air. Clean, unfamiliar, too light. She kept waiting to wake up. But every morning, the sun rose on a new truth. She was no longer invisible. And the boy who once kicked her, he was the one now struggling to find his place. He couldn't understand it. How the world flipped. How the girl who once lived behind a billboard was now being praised in meetings, invited to family dinners, and featured in company newsletters. Ifunea's photo, her, smiling in her modest new dress, was now printed on the wall near the company entrance. The unsung hero of Maxwell Holdings. Zubair stared at that image every time he walked in. It burned his ego like acid. And yet, he couldn't tear it down. Because even he knew she deserved it. 1 week later, Alikum called an emergency board meeting. All senior staff were present. Even Zubair, though reluctantly. The room buzzed with whispers. Alikum stood at the head of the glass table. His voice calm, but sharp. I started this company with one goal, to build something that honors not just money, but people. He turned slightly, his gaze meeting Zubair's. Lately, I've been thinking about legacy. And about what kind of man I want taking over when I step down. Zubair blinked. The board froze. I've decided to restructure. There will be a new leadership wing. One that reflects our true values. He turned to the projector screen. And there it was. Vice President, Staff Welfare and Integrity, Miss Ifunea Ono. Gasps. Silence. Eyes wide. Zubair stood up. Dad, are you joking? Alikum didn't flinch. No. You're replacing me with a cleaner. I'm expanding. But yes, I'm giving real power to the one person here who earned it. Zubair's face reddened. Dad, she's nothing. She's from the streets. She's the reason I'm alive. Silence again. And then. You? You're the reason I almost died, from shame. She stood in the hallway outside, having overheard everything. And when Zubair stormed out of the meeting, he ran into her. For a second, neither spoke. He looked at her like a stranger. Then, with a sneer, you really think you belong in this world now? She didn't raise her voice. She didn't flinch. No, she said softly. I don't think I belong. I know I do. Zubair's fists clenched. His lips trembled. She continued. I didn't steal my place here. I earned it in silence. And you kicked me for existing. But life? Life lifted me anyway. That evening, Alikum took Ifunea aside. There was something he hadn't told her. After the crash, he said, I asked the hospital about the girl who saved me. No one knew her name. But I kept your wrapper. I never forgot. He showed her the blood-stained cloth, still folded in plastic. I told myself, if I ever found you again, I'd make it right. She held the cloth, her fingers trembling. Do you think it's too late? He asked. She looked up. It's never too late, to do what's right. And she meant it. The days that followed hit him like bricks. No one respected him anymore. His name opened fewer doors. His father no longer trusted him with major decisions. And now the media had caught wind of it. Billionaire's son accused of assaulting woman who saved his father's life. His sponsors pulled out. His followers dropped. And for the first time, Zubair was no longer the prince of the kingdom. She didn't seek revenge. She sought restoration. She took her new role seriously, visiting staff homes, reviewing welfare policies, hiring 2 other ex-cleaners into assistant roles. She gave voice to the silenced, hope to the tired. She became what she once needed. One evening, as rain drizzled quietly on the windows of the boardroom, Zubair knocked on her door. He stepped in, wet, tired, broken. "I need to ask," he said. "Do you hate me?" She paused. Then answered, "No. But I feel sorry for you." He frowned. She continued, "You had everything, and you chose cruelty. I had nothing, and I chose kindness." Zubair sank into the chair. "I don't know who I am anymore." She nodded. "Then maybe now is the first time you get to find out." He looked up, tears brimming. "Can I ever fix it?" She smiled faintly. "Not for me. But maybe for yourself." 2 months later, Maxwell Holdings hosted a press conference. The cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. But one woman stood at the center of it all. Ifeanyi Ono, now dressed in a sleek navy blazer, hairstyled, her name on the panel behind her. She spoke calmly into the mic. "I was once kicked for being poor. I now stand here to prove that being poor doesn't mean being worthless. Every human has value. And it's time we built a world where no one is too small to matter." The room erupted in applause. Later that night, Ifeanyi stood on the balcony of her modest new home. The air was quiet. She no longer slept behind billboards. She no longer feared being forgotten. She had walked through hell, and came out with dignity intact. From a cleaner, to a survivor, to a leader. And as the moonlight touched her skin, Ifeanyi whispered, "They kicked me down. But life made me rise higher than they ever dreamed." Speech balloon, like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us why every life matters. And she meant it.